Hey, listen up. Mitz, he doesn't believe in you. He never believed in you. He said so many times that you can't go to waifuwar.life and put in your nominations for the 2023 Anime Waifu War. He said it couldn't be done, that you didn't have the capacity for it. But I know better. I believe in you. I know you, yes you, can go to waifuwar.life right now and put in your nominations to make your queen the true champion of them all. Alright, you did it? You're on your way? Perfect, thanks. And now, let's get to the podcast.
何よ、アニメアディクツアノニマスのライブブロードキャストやってるって言ってるでしょ。聞きなさいよね。You are listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aaapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome everyone to episode 675 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. My name is Mason and I'm going to die because I'm feeling like doo-doo butter. I'm going to be coughing and sneezing. The allergies from last week, they hit me. But that's okay because we are still here to make your anime addiction worse. That's right, me and my co-host today. We've got the strong one, Caroline. We've got the cute one, where'd the cute one? I guess Caroline. I guess we got a jealous co-host that stalked Mitsugi on his farming arc and submerged him in a vat of corn syrup, never to be seen again. He's just...
You know, I think anybody could have listened to the last part of the last episode, and it was a murder, but not a crime.
Exactly. We should have seen the signs. It was all along. Disposing of the evidence.
Just remember that next time, people don't believe me. And they say, you're wrong, Caroline.
Never.
You're just
no,
wrong.
You're wrong.
And I'll tell them, you know what? Eat this keyboard. Eat
Nerd. Yeah, so Mitsugi is out of commission, canonically killed again.
Sorry, Mitz, okay. But it had to be.
Yeah, it was.
At least he got to see some cute animals at the farm before I did the deed. Exactly.
You know, and now he's being consumed in the very food products that he rallied so hard against. So it's a fitting end. But anyway, welcome.
Apparently he's having a great time in Iowa. He loved it.
I hope so. Yeah, he's like you said, unironically, episode 700 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, we're going to have our farming arc, which is where we grow new listeners from the cornfields itself to raise our ranks, which you can do by joining us at AAApodcast.com. You can get all our bonus content for the spicy hentai episodes, the fun hobby addicts, and all the after party stuff we do. Find our Discord to join all the other folks in there who are just having a blast and doing all the things that you do on the internet under the covers when your parents fall asleep, because you don't want them knowing all the dark web secrets that you're getting up to. But as the TikTok and the Facebook and the Instagram, it's all there. Go to AAApodcast.com for all your dark web needs. But most importantly, I think the
dark
thing...
web needs.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I wouldn't say we are the dark web, Mason.
Listen, we say some dark things. I mean, we just said we killed our co-host, which is true, but that's a different story.
I mean, yes.
If Mitz was here, though...
That's not dark web worthy, though.
The ghost of him is whispering into my ear canal to send you, listeners, to waifuwar.life to put in your submissions for the upcoming Summer Waifu War that we are going to have if enough people participate. So I know our podcast episode 674 was a little bit late. That's because Mitz was dead. Once again, I can't stress that enough. But, okay, moving on. We got a fun show for you today, I hope. Our main topic is a Discord listener idea called Anime for Mental Health. We have a long unexplored pictures, but is it a good one? Only time will tell, as well as our spring impressions are continuing. We have Ancient Magus Bride Season 2, Skip and Loafer, Insomniacs After School, My Home Hero, and a couple more that you might be interested in. So Caroline, anything else before we get to the big news of the week?
No, let's head into it.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Want to
Alright,
lead us off?
There wasn't like too much big news I really wanted to talk about, except just a follow up on something that I did express interest in when I first thought about it, but it turns out to be a reality thing that people could end up doing is seeing the Super Mario Brothers movie in Japanese in the United States. So the official Twitter account for the Super Mario Brothers movie announced on Tuesday that the film will get special screenings in Japanese in North American theaters for a limited time starting on the 28th. So like this last Friday, which was the same day it opened in Japan. Now, here's the thing, a little caveat. So the theaters are listing that the film is screening with no English subtitles. So really, this is an opportunity for just the people who do know Japanese or are learning Japanese. Maybe you've seen the movie once in English and you're like, oh wait, let's watch the anime version. Which honestly, I was really interested in, watching the dub with subtitles because I don't know Japanese. Because, they just got Mamoru Miyano in there. They got a lot of others, like Kenta Miyake, who's playing Bowser, and some other voice actors that you might have heard of. So it just seems like a fun experience. Now, they're not at a ton of theaters, but if you live in Honolulu, Los Angeles, Seattle, Toronto, New York City, San Francisco, and Vancouver, you might be able to catch a screening. So I would recommend looking it up if you want to learn more information about that. But unfortunately, it's not for me. Maybe I can find it online or something.
I was going to say, there's no doubt in my mind that a fan edit of this movie will come out on the aforementioned dark web. We love the dark web. Big proponents of the dark web on this show. Of just a mashup of the Japanese dub cast with English subtitles. So, I think it could be done. But also, I have not seen the movie. I would imagine if you've seen it, you know enough of the general what's happening to follow along if you rewatched it,
Yeah.
So,
if you live in those major cities and know Japanese, this is the opportunity for you.
Nice. My big news of the week is that Cells at Work is getting 2 new manga spin-offs. And I did not realize there's a lot of them. There's a whole bunch of them.
Really?
But Akane Shimizu's Cells at Work manga will be receiving 2 more manga spin-offs at the end of May. One, which I think is pretty interesting, which is Hataraku Saibo Neko, which is Cells at Work Cat, which is...
Are all the cells in cat form? Because they are like people form?
What I want to know. I imagine it's going to be biology, cellular cats solving cat illnesses, which
I would love
I'm in for. Yeah, I'm so in for.
Little Neckos running around.
Exactly. That's going to be amazing. It's going to be overload, and it'll be great. The other one, Cells at Work Medicine, boring. No one cares about that, but I don't know. It could be good. But the original started in 2015 and has already spawned a ton of spin-offs, including Bacteria, Platelets, Code Black, which received an anime adaptation, and plenty more. So if you are deep into the Osmosis Jones lore and want more Cells at Work, you got it coming to you. I definitely would check out the cat one.
Yeah, me too.
But
I hope that gets an anime.
Yes, please, for the love of all things furry. But not in that kind of way. Dark web, remember, don't go there. Don't go there. Never mind. We had disavowed the dark web. So, with that, let us go to our main topic, which is anime for mental health. This was a topic that came to us from a listener named Lolchu.
This was a while ago.
Yeah.
We've been meaning to get to this, but yeah.
Yeah, I was curious if you guys could do a segment on mental health and maybe some anime that was your go-to when times were rough. It would help a lot of people, I feel, with needing some sort of escapism and also connecting with each other in healthy ways. So, mental health is something that has a lot of different definitions based on cultural and subjective differences. Here, I kind of broadly defined it in my mind as just the well-being of your emotional and psychological state of mind. One doesn't need to be suffering or working through a disorder to glean the benefits from these shows. I think any show really can be good for your mental health, even if it's not a theme of it per se. If you watch Gurren Lagann, Demon Slayer, Howl's Moving Castle, if they just improve your mood, get you invested, get you inspired, it's all valuable if it's entertainment. So there are a ton of
And that
shows.
actually, I was thinking along those lines, like, of course, improving your mood and making you feel better is one way to work on your mental health with anime. But I also feel like watching shows that are not necessarily completely feel good, but might help you recognize some ways to improve your life, like, or, be with your feelings for a minute and then see how these characters kind of go through their situations and help maybe glean from their perspective
Oh, for
for
sure.
your own life, maybe.
Yeah.
Even though that's a really a grand way to look at watching anime, but it could work. It could happen.
Yeah, for sure. And there are a ton of shows that are very focused around mental health. You have shows like Welcome to the NHK or Watamote or Happy Sugar Life, stuff like that. So I think we're
Happy
each
Sugar Life.
going to have
Yeah.
a different take
I
on.
wouldn't recommend Happy Sugar Life for
Yeah.
this.
Recommend different slate of shows. Hopefully, these are just a mix of generally good recommendations of shows to check out if they sound interesting, but also if you might need a bit of a pick me up if you're in a funk, in which case, don't worry about it. Feelings will pass. You're human. We're here for you, and hopefully, just we have some good vibes this episode. So, do you want to lead us off?
I don't know. You kind of have more on your list. So I
Yeah,
figured
but I
you'd
also
go-
stole some of yours probably, and
I
I
wouldn't
figured
say
we would talk
stole.
on some of those.
But yeah, we could. We'll definitely share the discussions across
Okay,
the list.
perfect.
Okay, so first
Yeah.
thing on my list is Euro Camp because it is such a just a chill, feel good show. I wouldn't say that I have had mental health problems be a very prevalent thing in my personal life, but I did have long stretches of time where I was working jobs that I absolutely hated. And I would come home and I would still feel like I'm in those jobs. Like I'd get into bed and I can't let my mind rest. Like I still felt like I was mentally there. And really, I just was like, really upset. I'm like, why am I working these dumb jobs that I hate for no money, barely any? And when will this be coming to an end? So it's just like those were the problems that I kind of experienced in the general field of the mental health thing. And I feel like shows like Yuru Camp, where you're watching cute girls doing cute things, they're living life, they're exploring and eating good food, being with friends, and just relaxing. That was kind of what I needed to get myself to relax a bit too. Um, so I put that on there, and everyone that has seen Eurocamp kind of knows what it's about. It's not like a progressing storyline that you really want to watch Eurocamp, like and binge it and all that. But one episode every once in a while can surely do you well. And no pressure, just, hang out and have fun at camp. So that's the first one on my list.
Nice. That's such a cozy show.
It is.
And if we see any recommendations in the chat that we didn't pick up on, we'll shout them out. Like Darth Sussmaster, who wrote Spy Family. Definitely a comfy show.
Yeah, definitely. It's fun. It's cute, and got Anya in there, and your Borfy boy Bond.
Yeah, the
Can't get
Borpheus
much
of the
better than
bunch.
that.
The first show I have to talk about is Natsume's Book of Friends, aka Natsume Yujin This is, of all the Yashike, the quote-unquote healing shows, this is definitely the standout because it just has a unbelievably permeating sense of coming to understanding. It follows this kid named Natsume who has this book of spirits that his grandmother kind of bound to this notebook, and he's setting out to make them free. So he's going around meeting all these different spirits and really trying to understand their desire and intent. Some of them are resentful, some of them are hurt, some of them are just lonely, and he has to kind of forge some kind of connection with them to properly release them of their bindings. And this is all happening as Natsume himself is trying to be understood in turn. He has these friends that are kind of distant because he's been able to see spirits. He's that weird kid, and no one really gravitated toward him. The spirits he goes to find, some really don't like him and what his grandmother did to them. And his closest thing to a family, he's kind of an orphan, so he's been shunted around. He's always been kind of been on the outside looking in, and it's a sad situation that he's trying to learn how to overcome. And at over 80 episodes, it's always there for you, and it's always engaging, and it's one of the few shows that get better over time. But it's good from the beginning if you are into the slower burns, kind of episodic, the mushishis and stuff of the like. Natsume's Yujin Show, or Natsume's Book of Friends, is a high recommendation for anyone who just wants to see some chunky cats, and boy, are they some thick boys in there. So it's a good show. Definitely slower paced, but definitely for when it's when you're in a rut, it'll be there for you. So that's my first pick.
Well, I figured since, you just mentioned it, Mushishi was also one of the shows that I would watch coming back from work to just decompress. I don't know if it's like great for mental health because it is kind of sad. Like in a lot of these episodes, people kind of uh, deal with their mushi problem, and they. Well, I guess I can just generally tell you what Mushishi is about if you don't know. It's like about this guy traveling around. He's a Mushishi. He deals with these beings called Mushi. They're kind of like spirits in a way. It's oftentimes causing problems for people in this, countryside Japan in probably like the past 100 years or something like that. They don't really tell you what time period it takes place in. But a lot of people kind of get hurt by the Mushi. Sometimes the endings are ambiguous. Sometimes they're decent. Sometimes they're not. I wouldn't say that it's the happiest show, but it's certainly chill. And one I was considering putting on my list, so I figured since you mentioned it.
It definitely makes you reflect. And
Yeah,
the Captain
I'll
Avatar
reflect.
in the chat says Natsume has been getting a dub now. So if you want to watch it while you fall asleep and you need glasses to see and it's too fuzzy to see the subtitles, now you have a chance. And Lady Emery also mentioned One Punch Man for a feel good show, which I think definitely has its role. It gets the people going.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a laugh. Well, do you want to mention the next one on your list since I talked a bit about Mushishi and everything?
Sure. Well, we can both talk about this, which is March comes in like a lion. This is definitely very on the nose with characters going through issues, but every character here is going through something, whether it's familial expectations, abandonment, bullying, or just being forced to grow up too quickly and take care of
Or
those around
feeling
you.
lost? Like, I feel like that's one thing that if most people kind of deal with with their mental health is feeling lost in life, like not knowing what direction to go in, your job, you're not sure what you want to do, and feeling the pressure of adulthood closing in on you.
Yeah.
That one also, it also kind of covers that a little bit.
Every character in the show is struggling in their own ways. They are all on their own boats in this tumultuous storm, just getting battered around and just not knowing where to go. And really, the show is teaching you that, even if someone else is struggling, you can help each other get out of the ruts. And the sense of found family in the show and the dichotomy between just sadness and loneliness and just desolate emotional landscapes to the warmest, most fuzziest, most hug-inducing scenes in anime just coming together is really moving, really... it's a tearjerker, but not in a sad way. It just brings all these emotions out of you and makes you feel things you never felt. No, not that is Korean, but it's a really good show. It's masterfully done. It is just a work of art, and it's a really good show, and you should check it out.
Yeah, but the first season definitely has a good balance of sadness, but then warmth in coming back into that. So as I like to put it, it breaks your heart and then repairs it for you. But the thing is, the first season does that. The second season, while it's still great, still a great season, it is a little bit more sad. I feel like there was not as many warm, happy moments in the second season because of one of the storylines that really permeate the second season. So I would definitely give the first season a try for your mental health. The second season, you might want to punt some of the characters because of how horrible they are to the characters you love. So keep that in mind. But I guess I'll go into the next one on my list. Now, this one is more of a personal one for me. I don't know if this is really going to help anyone else, but it's Love, Shunibyo, and Other Delusions. Is it a perfect show? No. Is there some problems in it? Yes. But it's so cute and fun and nice. And okay, so this show is about a girl who's a Chunibyo, otherwise known as somebody that is caught up in like I have superpowers and I come from this secret world and if you make me remove my eye patch, then the dark spirit hidden within me will go out of control. That kind of thing. As people in middle school, a lot of us were kind of like that, thinking that we were something like a special superhero human being or whatever. She's still in that zone. She's in high school. It's weird. And yet she still stays with her delusions as like a coping mechanism for other things that have happened in her life. Now, while is it like coping by escaping into this other life is not exactly the healthiest thing, but it is also just what makes her happy. And it also helps bring other characters out of their shell, like, the people that are trying to be too serious and then forgetting, like, wait a minute, this is actually something fun that I can do. I'm still a kid. Like, there's no reason for someone to be so uptight about who they want to be and how they want to live. So it, also deals with like growing up, with grief, with you know, people's expectations of you, and overall, it is one of my favorites. So I recommend that.
Yeah, it was difficult picking a single show from Kyoto Animation because so many of theirs, from Hyoka to Keion to Tamako Market to Violet Evergarden, there's just so much content to warm your heart and break down your barriers and just to great, amazing animation. But the one that I had to pick at the very end was their 2016 movie A Silent Voice, which is a coming of age psychological drama of a bully and an outcast, and then kind of reconciling after years of the bully bullying her. And it just gets into obviously mental health, but suicide, friendship, disabilities, just all these different topics, and it puts the camera in the focus of all those themes right up against you and makes you confront them. And there's no shying away from it or a bashful or the darkness happens off screen. It reaches into your gut and pulls you through that experience. And it's a difficult movie to watch, and just it asks a lot of you, and it's fantastic. You don't always feel great watching it, but man, it has its payoffs, and it's definitely worth it if you are looking for just a really good movie.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about the story is that it kind of follows a perspective you don't see very often, being, the person that used to be a bully, that used to do terrible things, and then is coming to terms with regret and like, can you even make up for what you done?
Yeah.
But I think we as people, a lot of us have done things that we are not proud of. So in this, maybe you can see, okay, so I did this terrible thing. What can I do to make up for that?
Sorry,
like,
never mind.
Like confronting yourself and also the people that you've hurt, and seeing that, like, okay, maybe like I can't just wallow in my regrets forever. Maybe finding ways to redeem myself for those decisions I've made. So, but altogether, A Silent Voice is an amazing film. Like, you don't even have to have mental health issues to watch it.
No,
just be careful, because bring the tissues. It is a little rough sometimes, but it's a very good movie.
Yes.
Next thing on my list, A Place Further Than the Universe. So I only watched this show recently, like somewhat recently, within the last like 6 months or so. And I think I'm a little late to the party to say that it's good, because it is good and everyone said it was good when it came out. But I think this show is great for people that feels like they're in a rut in life and have trouble making the decisions to do what they really want. Like, oh, I want, like, in very specific in this show, it's like, I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to do something crazy. And it's really tough to kind of go forth on those plans. Like, making travel plans is one of the hardest things to do, because so many things have to come together, your schedules, you have to spend the money, you have to buy the plane tickets, you have to do everything, you plan so much, and it's really daunting for a lot of people. But it's just kind of what you have to do. And once you kind of made the decision, okay, we're doing this, you realize like, wow, I actually did the thing. I did it. So it's I know that made no sense. I kind of rambled a little bit, but if you feel like you're in a rut, maybe this show will help inspire you to kind of go out and do the things you didn't think were possible at first.
It's true, and it's a good show, and it's got chunky penguins.
Monkey penguins.
You can definitely see what it takes for me to be invested in the show. Just chunky animals.
Darth Sussmaster in the chat says, I don't need to do the thing, lol. Yes, you do. You do need to do the thing. What is the thing that you haven't done yet? Do it. Jeez.
We're getting some recommendations for Honey and Clover as well, which is also great, done by the same mangaka.
I have not seen Honey and Clover yet, and
March
I need to
comes
see
in
it.
like a lion. Obviously March I think is a superior work of art in a lot of ways, but it's, if you want that college age and some of those feels, it'll check those boxes. So definitely check it out.
That very specific art style.
Yes, it's those wide mouths. They just keep on going. Let's see. Whoa, what should I do next? Let me go with a show that I don't think is phenomenal, but I think has a place and can be enjoyable, which is Re-Life. Now, this is a show who follows this 27-year-old Arata. He's a jobless guy, and he just is failing at life. He cannot get a job. He quit his company, and he's struggling. And he is given the chance to take a drug that reverts him to a 17-year-old and get a second chance at life. And I think a lot of escapism of our world is, you spoke about regrets earlier. If I'd done it again, if I had a second chance, I would have done all these things differently. I would have studied harder. I would have not gone to that party. I would have talked to this guy. I would have seized these opportunities, whatever it is. And this show kind of brings that opportunity to life and says, look, you get a second chance, but it's never that easy. And wishing for what you can't have and the grass is always greener kind of mentality is really, you are become whole by facing where you're currently at and not trying to escape. And I think at its heart, the show has some nice things to say about that. It is iffy by the end, but I think it is still engaging for what it is. And I give it a light recommendation, just if you need something to fulfill that itch. Let's see, I can go again, which is really quick, which is Barakamon, which is probably one of the ones that I associate with being kind of in a rough spot and it just improving my mood drastically, which is telling the story of Honda, who's this talented but insufferable calligrapher who punches this old dude in the face because he's like, the old dude was like, your art sucks. And he's like, no, it doesn't, bro. And he punches him. And his dad's like, nope, you're going to this rural town off in these islands of Japan. Yeah, you're perma-grounded until we let you come back. And he goes to this island and he's all dopey and he's all like, oh, forget these guys. I'm never talking to anyone, blah, 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 blah. And he just starts to shut down. And these just unbelievably Genki residents of the town just pull him kicking and screaming into the light and just open his eyes to, being a nice dude and what benefits it offers. And it just always brought a smile to my face. The opening is one of my favorites, done by Super Beaver, which is not Chonky Beaver, but a pretty good name regardless. And I always associate it with summertime, and I am almost smiling just thinking about it. So Barakamon, not the manga one, the calligraphy one, but they're both all right.
I watched one episode of it in my college anime club, and I'm like, wow, I really like this show. I never got back into it.
Yeah, there's so many memes that come out of the show. Like, Naru as a force of nature is just an incredible person who is probably a little bit extra for some people. Sure, I get that. I could see a lot of people bouncing off because of her, but dang, she's a bundle of fun, and her playful terrorism of this guy is definitely a joy to watch. So check it out.
All right. Well, back to shows that I've watched to decompress after work. Here's another one that literally made me feel because I was working retail. I friggin' hated retail. And I'm thinking to myself, I hate my customers. They're so annoying and frustrating. They ask stupid questions. And I don't want to deal with them anymore. So after work, I would watch Skullface bookseller Honda-san. Because if Honda can get through the crazy situations he finds himself in as a worker in a Japanese bookstore, then I can get through it too. And it's hilarious. And it's also very short as well. So, yeah, Skullface bookseller Honda-san, he is a skeleton. No, it doesn't make any impact on the story whatsoever. Like all the characters look a little strange. But that's just because it's like a semi-autobiographical story based on the mangaka who used to work in a bookstore himself. So he based a lot of the situations and characters on people he knew. So main character Honda-san is the mangaka himself, but looking like a skeleton. And you might look at it and say like, "Oh, this animation leaves a lot to be desired." It doesn't. It actually fits the comedy very well. It's so good. And if you freaking hate work in retail, this is the show for you. Just saying. It's great.
Yeah, it's
The
good.
end.
A lot of Yuri in the show. Kind of.
Yeah, what was that? What was that quote? Super Yaoi book.
Yeah,
What was it?
something like
Super
that.
Yaoi book.
It's a great, and it's shorter episodes too, and a banger
Yeah.
OP. Let's see, my
Yeah, it
last
really is.
two shows I will talk about. Actually, no, you've got one left, so we'll go one at a time. This is another one kind of similar to, I can't think, A Silent Voice. This is a movie that it's a bit of a tough watch. It definitely it's got that impact. It's not as severe, but it does start off strong with a character committing suicide. This is the film Colorful. It deals with school children who are just dealing with the pressure of graduation, the kind of that changing period from entering high school or entering college, and a character who commits suicide and is given a second chance at living the world through another character and kind of having to determine reconcile his choices and debate if it's something he wants to return to. And it's a difficult film, it's a sad film, it's a happy film in ways, but it is powerful, and I think it is worth a watch. Some great visuals and talking points. So Colorful, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
All right, the last one I have on my list. This show I think would be great for people who have no idea what they're doing in life, and they feel like they're stuck, and they don't know how to make themselves unstuck, and also dealing with like pressures of impending futures and that kind of thing. So Silver Spoon is an anime with a bunch of farm animals. Very, very cute. And it follows our main character. He went to, I think it was like, I think he was like applying for high schools in Japan. I think it was high schools, right? And he's pretty smart, gets straight A's, but he realized he has no passions in life. He doesn't have a direction. He could go to a great high school, go to a great college afterwards, and maybe do some sort of job, but he doesn't know what he would do. He just is smart and doesn't know how to get past more than that, is what I gained from it. It's been a while since I watched it, so maybe I'm not completely accurate on that. But because of his spiraling nature of, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm passionate about, what I want to do, he decides to go to an agricultural school. And he's never been on a farm before. So here he is learning how to grow, how to raise animals, how to raise a pig, specifically a little piglet. And unfortunately, he has discovered that, wow, I have to raise this piglet, and then we have to slaughter that piglet.
But Caroline,
So,
how chonky is this piglet?
oh, it grows to be a chunk, a little
Oh
pork bowl.
no, no,
He
poor
needs to be. He
baby.
named him Pork Bowl.
No.
And yeah, oh god, it's cute. It's cute. And at first, like I'm thinking to myself, there's no way he's gonna be able to kill this pig. And it might go on for like a little while. I'm thinking to myself, this is gonna drone on for a while, even though like it's just how it is. But I'm not going to. I'm not gonna try to spoil anything. But he really comes to terms with his issues in a very interesting way, and just realizing, okay, this is what it takes to be respectful to the world that gives us, the food that we eat. And he comes to realize a lot of things about that within, farming life, and just trying something completely out of the ordinary for himself to and he grows from it, and he realizes, you know what, like I might not like I'm not sure if I haven't seen the second season, so I don't know if he like wants to commit to farming as his future, but at the very least he grows from the experience, and sometimes that's all you need. So Silver Spoon is a very good show that I've watched one season of. There's a second season that I know is good as well that I need to watch at some point. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what I rated second season compared to season 1. I don't remember. I'll look it up after I talk about my last show, which goes by a couple different names. Welcome to Irabu's Office, Kuchu Barranco, or Trapeze, which is a fantastic show, absolutely bonkers visually, but extremely rewarding. And essentially, the plot of each episode is pretty episodic. We follow this psychiatrist named Irabu, who is consulted by some patient who is exhibiting a psychological problem or something where they've tried other medical solutions and nothing has worked. And this kind of oddball doctor, sometimes he looks like a bear, sometimes he looks like a kid. You never really know what you're going to get. You don't know why he looks like these things. He gives him a scandalously large injection and just kind of transforms the patient's head into a giant animal head. And they attempt to work through the issues, and it's a wild ride. Every episode, while episodic, links to another with the people they meet along the way and the way they're influenced, and it kind of all culminates in an extremely just fantastic ending, which is not to say that the ending is good. It's amazing. The opening and ending of the show are unbelievably catchy. They're like glitter. You're never going to get it out of your head because it's so good. It's so funky. But Trapeze is, if someone watched you watching it, they would think you have some problems, and you probably do, and that's why this show is perfect for you, because it's good. It's really good, and it really has some good messages at the end of the day, and some, if Mitz was here, tickle bitties. That's all I'm going to say. So, Trapeze, pretty good. I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorite shows.
Is there anything else on your list?
No, I mean, there's like 1,000 shows you could get to. I'm just looking up my my Silver Spoon scores.
Yeah,
I think I gave them the same. So if you like season 1, you'll like season 2.
Yeah, and also, our Discord is always open for people wanting to get recommendations for things and to also talk out our problems, because we happen to have a very close-knit community there, and we will welcome you if you ever want to chat. So with that being said, let's get into our in-show news break as well as the trivia question.
Yeah.
In Hell's Paradise, what village is Gabimaru from? And we will give you the answer after the news break.
Stick around. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome into a movie-themed anime news break for episode 675. Multimedia company Enlight announced an in-depth first look at Maphinda at this year's Annecy International Animation Film Festival. They revealed that MAPPA's Masao Maruyama will be producing, and it will be directed by Isaburo Sugi. Maphinda tells the story of a young girl named Odi who is transported into the past, where she joins another girl named Nasambi. Together, they must venture into the Maphinda and confront evil spirits to reclaim the Nixie if she has any hope of returning home. The company aims to bring Black and Indigenous stories in partnership with global creators and plans to produce films and television series from IPs going forward. This year's Annecy Animation Film Festival will take place from June 11th to the 17th and is the world's longest running and largest animation film festival. Also at Annecy this year, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, the new feature film by Kenji Kamiyama, who did Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, Blade Runner Black Lotus, and Eden of the East. The film is described as an original anime feature, depicting a legendary battle that helped shape Middle-earth and set the stage for Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. It explores and expands the untold story behind the fortress of Helm's Deep, as well as one of Middle-earth's most legendary figures, the mighty King of Rohan. And finally, one more anime film will be screening at this year's Annecy. Anime studio PA Works unveiled a new feature-length film entitled Komada, a Whiskey Family, and bills it as the 5th installment of its Workplace series about people and their jobs, following Hanasaka Iraha, Shirobako, Sakura Quest, and the Aquatope on White Sand. The film will center around Ruri Komada, the young head of an ailing family whiskey distillery, who takes over after the death of her father. And this will be directed by Masayuki Yoshihara from the Eccentric family. And that's all the anime film news I could find today. Let me know which ones you're the most excited for. And now, let's get back to the podcast. And welcome back to the podcast. Sorry it took so long. I had to get some more honey lemon water because my throat is going to kill me. When we last left you, we had a in-show trivia question, which was, in Hell's Paradise, what village is Gabimaru from? And the answer is Iwagakure Village, which means hidden in stones.
Sounds very Naruto-esque.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, everything's back. Technology was dying on us. And yeah, very Naruto inspired. Maybe we'll be reviewing that show for impressions today. We will see. But first, we have an Unexplored Pictures to get to. If it plays the song. Come on, computer. I believe in you. I believe in you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Are you baby talking your computer?
Yes. It needs...
If you're going to do that, you should do it in binary code.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
Welcome to another episode where I talk about movies, new and old, that I just talk about and let you know if they are worth your time or not. I've got a string of classics lined up for the future, but this week is another one hot off the press. In fact, it is two movies. They released on the same day, October 7th, 2022 in Japan. They dropped by different studios, and they're titled, and this is going to get heckin' confusing, so stick with me here. One of them is called To Me, The One Who Loved You, which is done by TMS Entertainment and is often abbreviated to Kimi I. And the second one is To Every You I've Loved Before, which is done by Bakken Records, and it's often shortened to Bakuai. So we have Kimi I and Bokuai. And together, they form an over 3-hour experience that just recently came to Crunchyroll. And the question is, what order do you watch them? Because there's not a set beginning or an end. And if so, is it worth the watch at all? So these movies are based on two science fiction novels that, you guessed it, also released on the same day by author Yomoji Otono. And I started with the film Kimi I, but your experience will obviously vary a little bit if you start with Bokuai. So essentially these movies start off with an explanation on parallel worlds, because of course it's science fiction. And even though the setup's a little convenient for our 7-year-old protagonist, Koyomi, to be jumping into parallel worlds right off the beginning with the help of fellow child Shiori, who knows how to operate this complex machine at the, and I shit you not, this is the name of the place that they work, the Imaginary Science Research Institute, which is kind of a silly name for a science fiction thing, but whatever. Essentially, Koyomi jumps to a parallel world and he encounters the death of a loved one there, and essentially has to come to terms with, in a different world, someone else died, and the philosophy and concept of life versus death is kind of explained as the warmth of possibilities. He went to another world where the possibility of that person living was extinguished. And they're like, okay, let's try jumping to a different parallel time. And if you thought that kids can just run rampant in this institute, they can, but they are actually stopped this time. And they're like, hey, you guys can't do this anymore. And they say, okay, and they pretty much just give up on the idea and just live normal lives. And they grow up over the years as close friends, until high school. They start getting really close. Close enough that when Koyomi's dad and Shiori's mom decide to marry one another, they realize, oh shoot, that would make us siblings. And we can't get married if we become siblings. So they decide to run away.
Common problem in anime, apparently.
Exactly. So they run away to a parallel world where their respective parents never divorce, so there's no reason for their parents to then marry each other, which makes sense.
Do they get into the fact that they're going to these worlds where alternate versions of them exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially they are not physically time traveling. It is their consciousness that moves into the body of the world they go to, and what's left in the main world, the zero world as they call it, is just a husk of a body. You're essentially in a coma. So essentially, they run away, and of course they're amateurs. They're untested. And surprisingly, going to a different world doesn't work perfectly with no supervision. And Koyomi has to go this long journey to rescue Shiori from the afflictions that ail her. And if you're thinking, wow, this setup sounds pretty stupid, I would agree. It's full of technobabble, and it would sound way more convincing if you didn't name everything very dumbly, like the Imaginary Science Research Institute. The characters are kind of flat and artificial. The director tries to copy Yamada in conveying things with legs and foot shots, but they can't even manage it when they're showing the characters' faces, so it doesn't work at the legs either. Everything just feels stilted and pained, and the voice acting is really not good in these movies. I didn't check out the dub. I don't know if there is one, but the sub was not doing it for me. Visuals, obviously coming from Suzume last episode, nothing's going to measure up to those production values, but these films don't even try to look more than like a middle tier television episode. Like, at least they're consistent across two films, considering they're by two different studios, but there's really not much to them. If you want your funky sci-fi romance options, you already have great picks. You have Your Name. You have The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. And you have your cruddy picks like Hello World and these movies as well. And if you're a big fan of like 2016's Planetarian, which kind of hits on the same melodrama, uninteresting characters, and just astoundingly average delivery, watch that instead because it's only 2 hours, not 3. Like, this is a long time to invest in things that are nice in concept because I can see how changing the order changes the story, but it really just means that you're kind of end up watching some of the scenes over again because there has to be some overlap. And if you are wanting to check it out and undergo the experience, I would recommend starting with Kimi Eye over Boku Eye. It tells you kind of more the mechanics at play, and Boku Eye leaves off in a sense where Kimi Eye ends, so it's a much better transition. And the ending of Boku Eye, and actually Boku Eye as a whole, is way more better, so you can look forward to a better movie. So, is it awful by the end of it? No, it actually had some decent parts, but for 3 hours, it's got to be better. So I applaud the concept, but they don't really stand up as half of it whole, and together they're just too long to be really engaging. So I would not recommend them unless you have a long plane flight to kill. So
And it's on Crunchyroll, right?
it is, and it came out like just this week. So that's To Me, the One Who Loved You, and To Every You I've Loved Before. So if you're into sci-fi, give it a shot, but it just wasn't doing it for me. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now, shall we get into our mailbag?
Yeah, here we go.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
Okay, let's get into our mailbag for today from Hoffner 1962. This is a question for Mason and Caroline. How about that?
What are the odds?
What were the odds? Both of you took over for very loved hosts, i.e. Kazuo and Mandy. Did you find this nerve-wracking or difficult, or were you not nervous? So, I mean, I don't know if we specifically took over for them. Like, we're not, inhibiting their spirit, like, because we're all very different people. But I suppose in the way that, once Mandy couldn't do the show anymore, there was a certain feminine aspect that was missing. Because, yeah.
I thought I was bringing it, but okay.
I've listened to the podcast episodes with just Mason and Mitsugi, and I have to say, you guys go a little off the rails. So
Well, there's too many rails on board, is what you're saying. I got it.
But overall, I was a little bit nervous because Mandy was, really well loved on the show. And she brought a lot of manga knowledge to the podcast that I just don't have. And even like nowadays, like it would be nice to have her back because she has, like she was the main person that knew everything, like all the manga coming out, and knowing what was good and what would make a good anime. And a lot of people don't really like, they want to learn more about the manga aspect rather than just the anime, but that was kind of her specialty that none of us really have. But overall, I was really excited too because I wanted to be on the show for a long time. So, yeah. I was a little nervous, but overall just excited.
Yeah. I can't say I was too nervous. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, you're replacing 1-to-1, you have to fill the role of a Enzo or Kazuo or something like that. I think people can tell, oh, we're different people, and there was never a concept of having to fill a shoe in a specific mannerism. It was just an excited energy to get a chance, and very thankful to be on it. And it's hopefully we're getting better as we go. I don't think we are. I'm a terrible human, and I just wish I didn't stutter and stammer and talk about mediocre movies for 3 hours. But hey, comes with the job. So
I mean, I feel like you relay your thoughts better than I do because I think I ramble quite a bit.
I go and I take these long pauses, and I hate it. But we're trying to get better.
But I've seen your note taking, and they are like, you have immaculate notes. I barely do any notes.
Well, let's see if you can tell which of my shows that we're going to do impressions on today. You can tell if they have notes or not, because this was kind of a last second Mitsugi is not going to be here kind of episode.
Yeah.
So it was like, we got to do more reviews. Mason and I both
did a pass last week.
Yeah.
Like, we only have one pass left each. And this was supposed to be, Mitsugi was supposed to be here, passing at least one thing.
Yeah.
One of us was going to pass another thing. And then we would have two passes next week, and it was supposed to all work out that way. But he went and ruined that plan by getting himself killed.
Ruined. So let us get to these impressions and we will see what comes of it.
Mm-hmm. Are you okay? I guess I'm taking the lead here.
Doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it!
I love when it takes more time to wait for the drop than it does to play the drop. But, well, would you like to take the lead or should I?
Yeah, I'll take the lead.
Yeah,
so
do it.
so far, we have passed Heavenly Delusion and the Dangers in My Heart. Mason's was Heavenly Delusion. I passed Dangers, and now we are going to get through even more of our picks. Starting with Mason, what's on your list?
So I have 4 shows left to review or to impress. We're going to do 3 of them today. So by the end of today, we will know what is being passed from my court. And the first one I want to talk about today is the Ancient Magus Bride Season 2, which follows Chisei Hattori as she goes to Mage College. Studio Kafka is working on it. It's an offshoot from Production IG, just made explicitly for making Ancient Magus Bride. It's based on a manga, and you can find it on Crunchyroll. And as you heard me say a couple weeks ago, I was kind of mixed on the first season. It was full of potential, but it just wasn't grabbing me as much as I wanted. I was hoping that this season would really exceed and be the show I always wanted it to be. And really, this show for season 2 is well and truly, resoundingly fine. This show has a bunch of highlights, some fantastic animation cuts, decent, music and just production as a whole. These nice little world-building touches. There's a scene where she goes to college and she chooses her room based on choosing a cat, which is based around her personality. So it kind of picks her dorm mother through a cat, something that really, as a whole, matters very little, but is the kind of small things that make me feel invested in the world, and those moments were a joy. The lowlights of the show, some really jank animation, some really jank backgrounds, over-dramatic story beats, just coming from characters that I just find awkward. And there's the awkward from, a relatable standpoint, or that's part of the character. I get that. That's fine. It's just every character feels like they're walking around on stilts and just doesn't quite belong and live in this world. So really, honestly, and this is more of a me thing, it's just been a long time since I've seen season 1. It was 6 years ago. Everything just feels unfocused, and this show is far from a bad show. It just doesn't resonate, inspire, or entertain me like some other really good shows from this season. I can see the potential, I see the glimpses of the intrigue, but there's just too many obstacles in the way for me to enjoy it. I will be failing the Ancient Magus Bride Season 2, but I think if you were like, oh, I like Season 1, should I check it out? Yeah, I would say so. I think there's, more of the same to love if you enjoyed the first entry.
Yeah, so with the second season,
Oh, no,
what's going on in it? So I believe she goes a magic school or something.
Yep. Essentially, it starts off right off the bat, and there's no last time on Ancient Magus Bride, blue, 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 OVA,
It's been a
throwback. Yeah. There's none of that. It's just guy comes to the house with her and Elias, and they're just like, hey, you're kind of a weird situation of being a slave baggy. You have all these curses, and we kind of want to just study you and use you as a test experiment. So in exchange, we'll give you an education. Are you down? And she's like, I mean, that's kind of, you're just going to use me for science, but also I kind of need to get out of this little sheltered home I've been in, and I want to explore. And so Elias is like, okay, you can go because it's your choice, but I'll go with you as a visiting teacher. And they go there, and they just meet students, and there's just always more to colleges than what you see. And, it's just one of those shows. It's an arc of them studying and probably getting to the secret and heart of what the college's actually motives are.
Do you have a drop?
I did. I started it, and then here we go.
Oh, I didn't hear it, I guess.
There we go.
There
So
you are.
that was Ancient Magus Bride. Did not make the cut, but there we go. What do you got?
All right. Well, on my list, was the first thing on my list, was my first pick, was Insomniacs After School. So this show is done by Leiden Films, who did other insomnia-related shows like Call of the Night, and they don't a ton of stuff. But Insomniacs After School follows our one of the main characters, Nakami Ganta, he has had some issues sleeping. Just cannot go to bed, and in fact, the only time that he ever feels tired and being able to maybe sleep is when he's at school during the day. At the same time, Magari Isaki, and the other main character, she has been sleeping in the school's observatory, because this is like a very science forward school. They had an observatory for astronomy club and all that, but it has not been used recently because one of the students committed suicide, and the club just got disbanded. So now it's being used as a storage, basically, which is really weird. Really weird that they would not use this state-of-the-art observatory and instead use it for storage. But yeah, that gets brought back up again. But yeah, so she has been able to get some sleep, because she's also having insomnia problems, by going up to the observatory during the day, secretly sleeping there, because for whatever reason, she just feels a lot more at peace and able to actually sleep. Nakami comes across it one day, and he sees her sleeping there, and he also starts to fall asleep, and he's like, wow, this place is actually quite nice. So they plan to just hang out there. They even brought like furniture into the observatory just to make it more homey and everything. Like, they're basically setting up shop in this observatory. It's like a little apartment. But one of the teachers finds out that they've been, hanging out there. And she's like, okay, you can't do that. It's kind of against the rules. And also, there has been talk about trying to get this observatory back up and running. So she gives them a compromise. Basically, you guys have to be the new members of the astronomy club, and if you do that, you can use this to kind of hang out in. So they agree, because they're like, okay, I can, like, we can, utilize this to our benefit. So even at night, when they are both like unable to sleep, they'll like just walk around town and start taking pictures of things and trying to just make the most out of their time not being able to sleep. And that is basically kind of like the general premise of the show. I've watched like 3 episodes, and by the end of those 3 episodes, they meet with like one of the alumni of the school. They have to go like to a countryside town, and they have like no idea where to find this alumni that's supposed to help them out. He's like, I have no idea where this place is. Meanwhile, I'm like, how? Like, were you given an address? Seriously, like, if you were given an address, surely you can use your GPS and you figure it out. But eventually they find this broken down building just in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, is this it? They go in, and on the inside, it's like a bustling arcade in this rundown building in the middle of nowhere. And the proprietor, she says, aren't you 2 high school students? Like, what do you think you're doing in this arcade? And I'm like, who else is coming to your arcade in the middle of nowhere? In a rundown building? I don't know, maybe it's just like the difference between Japan and America. But yeah, so she happens to be the alumni they're supposed to seek out, and she teaches them how to do astronomy photography and everything. And yeah, so that's kind of where they're at now, like, that I've watched so far. So here's the thing. I really, really thought I was gonna like this show. I kind of like the slice of life. I like the the thing about not being able to sleep at night, so trying to make the most out of like the world outside at night. I friggin' love astronomy, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is it. This is my show. But it didn't really hook me, and it's not extremely entertaining, which is really sad, because I really wanted to like this show, and I feel like there's just something I'm not getting that everybody else is getting, because there's a lot of people that, rave about the manga. That's why I put it so high on my list, is because I thought I'd really like this show. But unfortunately, it's just kind of, it leaves something to be desired for me. It just did not hook me, and I feel so bad, but unfortunately, I just have to fail it.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Sorry.
Shame.
For what, the bell?
No,
I was just
I'm
saying.
just sorry because I feel like people are like, "What? You didn't pass
Oh,
this?
yeah.
Come on!"
I mean, that's essentially what's going to happen right now because I
Yep.
have a review of Skip and Loafer. This is another show by PA Works, who has been freaking killing it lately with Buddy Daddies, Akiba Made War, and Ya Boy, calling
Yeah,
me.
boy.
Based on a manga, it's on Crunchyroll, and this is directed by Kotomi Dai, who did the most recent seasons of the show. I said, hey, you should check out because it's really good. Natsume's Book of Friends. So, I wasn't sure what I was going to be getting into this. It follows this unbelievably smart and just really dedicated, very hardworking student named Mitsumi, who kind of leaves her small town life and is in Tokyo now, working her butt off at high school so she can get to Tokyo U. She's got big dreams, big business vibe aspirations. She's not going to let anyone slow her down, and she's just going to. She has the work ethic and the know-how to get there, so she's just on a track. She's going to get to her goal, and really nothing goes according to plan. No fault of her own, just a lot of mishaps that get in her way. And it's really just a cute coming of age story as she kind of learns the big bustling world of Tokyo and meets different types of people that are on their own little paths and just a meshing of different characters. And it's good. It's a really good show. I said that this show is going to come down to the strength of its characters to convey that story, and it nails it. This show looks so much better than I thought it would, than it would needed to, and I was pretty sold on it early on. Episode 1, there's a shot where all the characters, before you even meet them, are just getting ready for their first day at school. And just in little vignettes, you see them putting up their hair, putting on their pin, just kind of adjusting their outfits. And they all immediately in that like 5-second shot felt more grounded and realistic and believable as real people than a lot of anime get to over 13 episodes. And I think there is a lot to love with Skip and Loafer, and I would recommend it full stop to any slice of life fans, any fish out of water type story, just kind of inspiring. Everyone's obviously got their secrets and dark sides, and that's kind of coming into fruition as the episodes progress. So it's not just a let's go to school today and see what happens and very episodic. There's a pulsating drive to where the story is going, and it's just objectively a good show, and I do recommend it, and we'll keep on watching it, and I hope it gets passed by the listeners because I just have a lot of other really good shows on my list, and I don't know. I would regret passing this show. Not in that it's not good. It's just there's other shows that absolute must be reviewed, and I don't want to chance it. But I do recommend listeners, if you haven't checked out Skip and Loafer, please give it a shot. It is worth the price of submission if you have Crunchyroll, because it's free then, and see if it's for you. It's humorous at times, but not quite as funny as I wanted. It's engaging, but not quite. Like, it's almost there. But I'm sorry, have to fail it. But, listeners, you guys got 3 picks in next week, and you can be the hero I need to save this show. So, until then, Skip and Loafer will be failing.
Did you play the drum?
It is a travesty.
Truly.
There you go.
Thank you.
Sorry. Well, speaking of heroes, let's head into my next pick, My Home Hero. This was number 2 on my list because the synopsis is very intriguing. Definitely not your everyday, like, oh my god, we have to save the school club from being closed, etc. So, this is not that show. My Home Hero is about a guy, Tetsuo Tosu, a very interesting name. He is just like an everyday guy, a salaryman, and I think he's also a mystery novelist, or at least he gets really into his mystery novels. And he has an adult daughter, Reika. She's like 18, moved out recently into her her own apartment. He meets up with her one day. It's like, hey, how you doing? Like, let's have lunch. He finds out that she's like covered in bruises, like her face is just demolished because, as she says, like she fell downstairs, but he kind of figures out that her boyfriend has been physically abusing her. So he goes over to her apartment while she's away to do some things for her. And then all of a sudden, a guy comes into the apartment as well. He hides. And or actually, I'm kind of skipping some things. So he's walking around, I'm sorry, after
It's all
meeting up
good.
with his daughter. And he walks past this group of people on his way to his daughter's apartment. And he hears like, oh, they mentioned my daughter's name and the fact that this guy had beat up Reika. And like, oh, this is her boyfriend. So he starts following them. And all of a sudden, he gets attacked by Yakuza guys because apparently, like, her daughter's boyfriend is a son of a high-ranking Yakuza member. So they're like, don't follow our guys again. We are going to beat you to a pulp. We're going to take a picture of you naked, blackmail you with it. If you ever go to the police about anything regarding us, we will send this picture out there. So he's like, oh, shit. This is, like, a bad situation. So he goes to Reika's apartment, as I mentioned before, hides in the closet when her boyfriend rushes in. He is talking on the phone, and he reveals that not only is he beating Reika up, but also he plans to murder her and to extort money from her wealthy grandparents. So that obviously puts him on edge. He's hiding in the closet, and he hears that his daughter is about to be murdered by this guy who has murdered multiple people before. So he had to think on his feet because like he's in the apartment, he's gonna find him, and he's also gonna be killed by this guy. So he attacks the boyfriend before getting killed himself, and then he realizes, whoa, this is so bad, so bad, because this guy, he's a high-ranking member of the Yakuza, and my family is going to get punished for this. And again, they can't go to the police because of that picture, like his blackmail. And also, Yakuza don't typically get pinned down by the police very easily. So his wife comes in, and she's like, what the fuck is going on here? But she is a ride or die. She's like, okay, we got to get rid of the body. Meanwhile, like this entire time, like he has been thinking, like in his mystery novels, like this is how we get rid of the body. We put the body in a tub covered in this material so it's not going to get ruined by us literally cooking the body down. And it's like, whoa, this is a lot for an anime. Did not expect to see how to get away with murder in an anime. And it's really interesting in a lot of ways. But the thing is that it's the pacing is really off. There's a frick ton of things that happen in the first 3 episodes that doesn't feel like it should go that quickly. Like, I feel like him trying to get rid of the body should be several episodes long, but they kind of do it in like half an episode, it feels like. Also, the animation is not that great. It just does not look very good. And also, there's like this, just a really small thing, a stupid thing, but in the opening, there's a walking sequence, and his feet look so strange in this walking sequence that I can't get over it. Honestly, just because the synopsis is interesting and it's something different from the usual, I was a bit tempted. Like, if this was like a different season with less good shows, I kind of would be tempted to pass this anyway, because it sure is like something out of the ordinary that I would recommend you give a try, because I'm still interested in it, even if the pacing is off, the animation's bad, the characters are a bit annoying. Like, Reika is a friggin' annoying daughter. She's not a good character that you will learn to like. But I recommend giving it a try because it's something different. You're feeling jaded from the typical run-of-the-mill anime. But unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to fail it because it's not up to par on this season.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Let's see. What do I do? I have 2 shows left. I have Hell's Paradise and I have Oshinoko. And I will be doing an impression on Hell's Paradise, aka Jigoku Raku which follows Gabimaru the Hollow, who's this vicious shinobi assassin. And he comes out of the ninja village that we mentioned earlier, Iwagakure, and he is wanted for death because of a betrayal, and he's set to die. And they keep on trying to kill this kid, and man, oh man, he just keeps on not dying. He's like, please kill me, and then his body's too strong. It's very resistant to the numerous attempts at killing him that they go into very extreme detail to show you. And eventually, it's determined that, he does have some lingering will to live, and because of that, they are sending him, as well as a bunch of other convicts, on a mission to a hidden island to recover this elixir of immortality. This is a MAPPA show of the season, along with Villain Saga Season 2 that's continuing. It is on Netflix and Crunchyroll, and it's based on a manga. So, this has all the makings of a fine show. It's Studio MAPPA. It's a cast full of, criminals on a dangerous magical quest. That's a great way to get my interest. It jumps into the brutally violent and set up quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time establishing these story beats. You're seeing blood and guts episode 1 at any moment. And the main character feels like a mini Ginkgo at times. He's kind of a goofy, oddball, white-haired character who just kind of plucks around but is way stronger than, he's first shown to be. So yeah, this show has a lot of potential, but the show just feels a little stilted. It kind of comes across as merely fine and not something special. If I was in the 5th grade, I'd be so hyped to watch the show, like stay up late and watch this like violent show of blood and violence, and it'd just be like, oh, so cool. Yeah, he's a cool assassin boy. But for as good of a season as we're getting, and having read some of the manga and the little changes they're making to this show, I'm not the biggest fan of. They're not major, it's following closely, but there's slight tweaks that I'm just like, does she really have to be so naked when they're showing her inner demons? Like, yeah, probably not. So, is that why I'm dropping the show? No, I just was a little underwhelmed. And I have heard from different listeners that it is kind of finding its footing and getting better. Episode 4 seems to be a sort of turning point, and I believe them. And that's why I fully expect this show to come back with a listener's choice, and I wouldn't be upset by it. It's not like a boring show. It just is kind of standard, and it's has some quirks, but it's not rising above its nature. So, unfortunately, for the 3rd time today, I will be failing the show, and this time it is Hell's Paradise.
That is one big pile of shit.
But it's not that shitty. It's just a show. So we will see. So one show left, one pass left. We'll see if we'll see what happens next week.
All right. Well, my last impression for today is A Galaxy Next Door. So this one, I can't remember where it was on my list, but it was pretty far down. It might have even been the last thing on my list. Actually, no, that went to my clueless first friend. So yeah, this one was like second to last on my list. And here is basically what it's about. We have our main character, Kuga, or Kuga Ichiro, and his father died, and now he's left to kind of care for his 2 very young siblings. Meanwhile, he's basically, I think he's out of high school, he's an adult, he's a mangaka, and he's been really pressuring himself to kind of get his work to be financially stable enough to care for his siblings, as well as being the landlord for this apartment complex, because that was he inherited it from his dad. So while he's trying to run this apartment complex and care for his siblings and write his manga, his time management skills has not been great. He is constantly risking the deadlines he's trying to make, and he needs an assistant because his other 2 assistants have also, like, they've gone off and become mangakas themselves, and he just can't hold one down. So incoming is a very beautiful woman. What's her name? Goshiki. So she is a little strange. She just came to town. And he gets the call like, wait a minute, I have a new assistant? Oh, I gotta go meet her. So he goes to like this random side street, like nobody's there, just her. And I'm like, what directions were you given? Like, hey, go to this random side street. You'll find a random woman. You don't even know her name. And you'll find her there. And that's your assistant. I don't know. So he meets her. She's very pretty. And she is very good at what she does. Like, even despite the fact that she's only been reading manga for like the past year, she has a really great artistic ability to do things extremely quickly. So as soon as she gets in, she sits down to work, and she's just like sheet after sheet after sheet of paper. She does all the artwork, and finally, like after all this work, they managed to make his deadline. Which honestly, if you were that far behind and how much work she did, how were you ever going to get that done? It didn't seem like it was at all possible, but thank God she came through. But the thing is that she's a little bit strange in that she is not from this place. It's a little confusing. I'm not entirely sure. She is either an alien or just from a small island off of Japan, and they have like some sort of alien-like backstory. I honestly don't know if she came from outer space or she's just from Japan and on a far-out island. But basically, she is a princess of this place. They are human based. They look very human. The only thing is that they have this strange stinger, like a bee stinger, on their backside. You can't see it anywhere. Like in any of the promotional things, she looks totally normal, but she sits down, or she's sleeping on the floor because they've been working all night, and off her backside is a literal bee stinger just poking out. And I'm thinking to myself, how did you conceal that this entire time? And he's like, oh my God, is she getting stuck with one of these art pens? Like a sharp art pen? And so he goes to touch it, and she wakes up. You touched my stinger! I'm like, what the frick is going on here? It turns out that touching the stinger of one of her people is basically a ritual for marriage. And because he touched the stinger, they are now engaged. It's that is just so stupid.
Yeah.
I have to say. So she's pissed. It doesn't last too long. They basically come to terms like, okay, we'll at least be friends, and we don't have to get married. Like, we don't have to do that. That's just like a custom for her people. It's a weird custom, but
they're getting married.
Right now, like, they are just friends, and they are getting to know each other, and that's basically where I left it. I watched 2 episodes, and it's a little off the walls, just in those moments. For the most part, it's a very normal show, except for those very strange moments where I'm like, why? Why do you have a bee stinger? What does that have to do with anything? And yeah, it's just a little strange. So I imagine this show is going to be like a working show about making manga, also being in a relationship, because she's now living in like this apartment building. Like, she apparently, because he touched her stinger, they are now like spiritually linked. Like, if she is too far away from him, he will go into a sickness. Like he would get a man cold from not being around her, or he would feel like, you know, nauseous or something. So that's weird. And so now she's moving into the apartment building because, you know, he can't be away from her spiritually. So yeah, it's a little strange. I'm not really feeling it. It's okay. I think if you really want a manga making show with a bit of strangeness mixed in, this might be for you. But the characters are just not that great. Like, Goshiki is okay. The main guy is pretty substandard, like just boring. The kids are a bit annoying. But overall, it's just okay, but not passing.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
That was it. We did the whole thing. 6 impressions.
I know, we passed nothing today. Sorry, guys.
No passes. I'm so sorry. We got your hopes up. You were going to get something. Nothing today. So far, only Heavenly Delusion and The Dangers in My Heart have made the cut. But that means next week, the last 4 shows will be passed. Those are the 4 shows we will be doing reviews on. And then the task falls on you to vote in your final 3, and if those get the most votes, we'll review them, and then everyone's happy, and no one will be like, oh, I can't believe you didn't pass Hell's Paradise. What are you thinking, Mason? It's a show and everyone's watching it. I know, okay? We'll watch it. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to episode 675 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We have been Caroline and Mason. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, TikTok, and really our website, AAApodcast.com. Submit your waifu wars. Use the Amazon affiliates links. Reviews, tell friends. Just whatever you can do to help us. Just makes me feel good inside. And do it for me. Or at least no. Never mind. Do it for Caroline, because that's what really matters. And
do it for me.
Next week, Spring Impressions, round 3. I think we have a fun topic, too. I don't remember what it is, but I'm excited.
Anime
the sabbaticals. Yeah, it'll be a bunch of fun. And anything else for the good listeners at home?
Drink your water.
That's very true. And with that, we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Heading into an after party?
I think so.
All right. See you guys next week.